Drag. You see, WhatsApp. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Can I try and share WhatsApp? All right.
Yeah,
this is what I saw.
Yeah.
I can move that to the bottom. And can I play that? This is crazy, me showing you a video that you sent to me. Yeah, you're thinking about these dots coming down.
Yeah. Because I'd never seen any type of calcification that lived that close to the surface or the articular cartilage. And granted, again, I was not able to come down directly incidental to that, but it, I don't know what that is.
You see it routinely, almost routinely, when you look in through the back of the joint. You see little bits of bright echoes there. I have not found any reliable if I saw something like that in the knee, I would, or no, in a finger joint or something like that, I would certainly immediately be thinking about gout. And
my concern is that this kid, he looks odd, and he's the classic person that I would be saying there is a autoimmune problem here. Do you know?
Yeah.
And the doctor has done absolutely everything. He's done MRIs. He's done MRIs to take a look at the thoracic outlet. The kid is claiming that his shoulder joint is on fire, and that he does have symptoms down to his fingers. And that's what throws us. You know, he's got this numbness, tingling that does that. It doesn't alter at all with his neck movement. It doesn't alter at all with any kind of, like, you know, Adson's or when I try to load the peripheral nerves coming out of the neck. And so I was just trying to generate a billable event here, John, to be honest with you. And I was just going to look and see. And again, I was getting done with, in essence, a normal scan, and I'd never seen this. And I was cued with this bird guy to look, you know, all of a sudden things popped up.
What is this bright stuff here, though?
Well, let me see if I can pull in an actual, let me see if I have a short axis or an interval view. Oh, let me see what I can share with you, John. Hang on one second, and I'll see what you can see of mine.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do to go to. I don't know what you're able to see. Oh, really is slowing down for me, and I can't see that I've shared anything with you. Are you seeing anything?
Yep, I'm seeing lots of clips.
Oh, so I guess desktop. Yeah, and so what I don't know is I haven't yet done what you had said. How come PCs can't do this? Like over here, if I do this, I don't know if you can. That's about as big as the sucker gets. Can you see that over here?
I can see it.
So you were asking about, I believe, the interval view, or what the state of the of like supraspinatus was, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, the body of supraspinatus. It's difficult.
I don't know why I can't pull up or I can't see. Let me just go through a couple of these. If it starts to become a problem, then I don't know. Can you see anything here?
Yep.
So this is, again, what I can see on my screen is from pec major. I'm seeing the bicipital groove. There's subscap coming around on the left, coming up and over, and I think I have long or short axis long head coming up here.
Yeah.
And
what's that stuff? Just that's a tendon. Yeah, that's right. There.
I'm seeing. Yeah, I don't. Let me see if I can't pull us to it.
Put that back to. If you put that back 3/4.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I have the. Let me go back to where I'm playing it. I don't know why that doesn't do that. 3/4 would be about in here.
Yeah.
Now, are we? Crud, I think I'm looking at this. This is medial. This is medial off to the left.
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's it. That's subscapularis, is it?
So would you say that, you know, we're taking a look at, if I'm not mistaken, this should be the superior glenohumeral ligament under between subscap and long head of the biceps?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
And so I am going to ultimately see if I can't. What I'm seeing is a gap, what I think, between long head of the biceps and subscapularis, or at least some darkening of some sort.
Yeah, I was wondering whether, you see, without scanning it live, how bright that area is there in the middle of the screen. And I just wondered, could that be calcification? But it's not clear.
I would love to see if I couldn't find for you a clip of the actual interval view. I just need to see if I can't, and I apologize for how long this has taken, because I really do want to. This is supraspinatus there.
Yeah.
And then I scan what I think back to infraspinatus here.
Yeah.
And somebody once told me that what I previously would have called that dark space above there as effusion, that's not, John. That's actually just fatty layers to the subacromial subdeltoid, maybe. So anyway, as I come back to the start here, here's long head coming into view right there, and that's supraspinatus.
Yeah.
And that's subscapularis, you know, coming through there. I'm going to see if I can't. It was, let me go to one other location.
The only thing I would say is that area of subscapularis looks quite bright. And I don't know whether that's a technical thing or whether it could be some sort of calcification.
Then let me go here to what I think to be my subscapularis scan. And we'll start with long axis. Come on, Greg. I don't know if that's even know. Oh, I think I'm trying to look. Oh, that's coracohumeral ligament. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't it. Let me see if I can't. I'm feeling like I'm wasting your time here, man, but you're helping me. Let me see if I can't go back to. I'd like to see if I can't refine the. No, that's me coming back. I was checking the downside of the bursa to see if it was on the backside of the glenohumeral there. I guess what I'm hearing you say is there will be commonly a reflective component to the surface of the head of the humerus when you're aiming under that zone.
I'm not sure. You had those diffuse line of bright echoes going down into the distance. Something was reflecting back from there, and that something could be any number of things at that depth. You know, with those angles, and you know, you regularly see that within, and they're often quite mobile within the posterior capsule, and their reflections. You'd need to be able to see them better to be able to, I think, to be able to say whether they were in a crystalline deposition, which is what you're suggesting.
I'm simply regurgitating what I've seen them generate, and it looks like the items that you had through WhatsApp were more on top of the articular cartilage, not within. And I don't know, and I think the CPPD is within the cartilage, correct?
Yeah. But though I've not seen them like that in the shoulder, and at that depth and those angles, it's very difficult to know whether the actual placement is perfect in a thin bit of cartilage, whether you're seeing bright stuff. But yes, I would have said, if anything, if that was going to be anything, it would be the gout end rather than the pseudo gout, which is CPPD.
And when we say pseudo gout, we mean seronegative RA, or are they two different things? Pseudo gout
pseudo gout is the old term for CPPD.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's my understanding of it.
I am ready now to be wowed by what you may have seen this week.
Let's have a look. What have we got now? Share. Actually, I haven't collected very much. This is not this week. This is older stuff. Just on the topic of I am not sure why I've labeled this one as gout. And I cannot see anything. I can't see any gout on that one, so I'll have to go to the next one.
Can you talk to me a bit about tophus? Is that not a concurrent finding, or is that just another thing that gout will have with it, and it's basically like connective tissue that is reactive in like a cloudy sort of way, or what is that?
No, tophus is like soft calcification in appearance, but usually less bright than that. But it is, I could probably look, I've probably got some somewhere, but that's your gouty that's your gouty appearance there. Or am I sharing that?
Yeah, no, I can see that just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's your classic appearance of a double line over the cartilage for gout.
When they say double line, John, I see 3 lines there, sort of. Are we talking
this is the cortex?
Yes.
This is the crystalline deposition over the cartilage.
Yes.
This is a tiny bit of fluid, and this is the bright border of the synovium against the fluid.
All right.
Whether that's also got some increased echogenicity, you could speculate about, but you've got to remember that this is within if you think about the angles that the compounding have, you've got a compounding angle this way and a compounding angle this way. And so that boundary there is potentially quite bright anyway. So I wouldn't jump to think of that, but that is a nice bright layer there. So that's a pretty gouty picture. That's a JPEG. Sorry, I'm not up to speed. What have I got? There's a bit more. All sorts of things come up in here. Atypical ganglion. No, I don't know why that's turned up on with gout. And if I do tophus, I wonder how you see. My problem is my spelling is awful.
No worse than mine, sir.
Yeah, but the problem comes that you then can't be sure about what you're sharing. So that looks like a bit of tophus there.
And what I thought I heard you say is that tophus is a unique structure unto its own, and it's not necessarily biological tissue, or it's not living, or it's not collagen-based tissue. It's
not tissue. It's not tissue at all. It's like a bag of crap.
Okay.
Debris, sort of gouty debris.
Okay. Would it feel sandy like?
Probably, but
Huh.
I think it. I have never seen it in the flesh, but I presume it's like a bit like toothpaste. Yeah. Got any more?
Where are we here?
That is in the first TMT joint.
Okay.
So base of the first ray. That joint, which seems a bit harsh. Don't normally get it there. So this joint, somebody's query tophus dusk tunnel. Not sure what this is. I think this is probably, yeah, that was a bit that I saw. You can occasionally get it deposited under the skin. It's not a common thing. I don't have any proof that this was what that was, but that was what I thought it might be. A little bit of a deposit, tophus-like deposit under the skin. You know, I haven't had any histology back to prove it, but I was suspicious. And yeah, it's not brilliant video, this, but it's on a sort of fairly old probe. There's a little bit of tophus there, again, in the big toe.
It doesn't exist adjacent to the actual joint. It simply exists in the region of the gout.
Yeah, the gout in the joint. It's normally intra-articular.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's normally intra-articular. Occasionally, it's not. You know, it can occur anywhere, as far as I'm aware, but you'll see it sometimes when it would be in the differential if you see some calcification in a Achilles or something like that. But that would be rare. You know, that soft Achilles. CPPD. Have I got this? It's wrong computer. CPPD. I piggyback on the children's on the house laptop. Achilles tendon. So this is an Achilles tendon, and it's got some deposits, some soft deposits in it.
You say soft. Help me with that.
Well, if they were hard,
we don't see a shadow. Is that what you're saying?
You don't see a shadow. No.
Okay.
And, so the sound's going all the way through it. So it is going to have it is not going to be dense enough to be.
That's why you said soft on your response to me, is because we still saw the periosteum under what I was looking at. We could in my image.
Yeah.
You didn't see the black behind it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
So this is I think CPPD. So these sort of pseudo gout type deposits in the Achilles. Yeah. Not really shadowing.
Will they have inflammatory reactivity adjacent to it, or they may or may not?
I think in this case they probably do, because there's a little bit of this darker here.
Yeah.
Sound's going through quite nicely as well. You see how it's a little bit brighter at the back potentially.
Yeah.
So not difficult to be sure, but no, not especially. The whole Achilles is the soft tissues are all bright there. It doesn't get particularly brighter, but that would be something you'd look for potentially. But it would have to be quite a lot more edematous for that to be there. But yes, that's the sort of thing you think. And then these little sort of, I wouldn't say they're pathognomonic for it, but they are. Certainly that's the sort of deposit you see in the literature.
That's a mid-span fusiform tendinosis, or?
Yes. Yeah. With some potentially some changes. Let's have a look. It's dangerous. This is sort of stuff you see all the time, I'm guessing. But oops, this is biceps coming off. Not a particularly picturesque patient. But this is a typical dislocated biceps.
We end at the coracoacromial ligament on this?
Close to, yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So coming down, there's the biceps. And so the features that I'm looking at that are striking to me in these cases are, if I take that back, you come in here, you've got the muscle belly, and you get the two muscle bellies, and I'm always looking when I scan in short axis for the more lateral of them to where it goes to. Yeah, relative to the bone here as you approach the level of the pec major.
The lateral one, meaning that it would be the long head. Okay.
Long head is the lateral. You've got medial and lateral.
Yes.
And that's not a great picture. This guy was old, and so the imaging quality is not great. And I've taken this at some speed, I think. But what you see is where that coalesces here, and you'll get it more on the dynamic scan, where it's coalescing to. You see the pec major there.
Yes.
And they're not together.
Yes.
And that for me is my first clue. As I sweep up from pec major tendon, which is,
yes,
I look at muscle bellies at the pec major around or just below the pec major tendon, identify the two, long head, short head, long head, short head, long head, short head, and then you see as you sweep up, the long head coalesces into a tendon that snugs and right up against the greater tuberosity. You know, that little alteration, you know, the humeral head, the humerus is not round at that point, it's ridged, and the biceps snuggles up right up against it.
Your eyes are looking in a transverse, and you're looking at fascicles when you're below pec major, and you're looking for the actual.
So these dots here,
yes,
in short axis,
yes,
will tend to coalesce slowly.
Yes.
The ones in the long head are like a teardrop, and they all squish together onto the neck of the teardrop, and they all form in, but they run right up against the humerus, that groove in that ridge in the humerus, almost like a rat running along the edge, running along a skirting board.
Gotcha.
And when it doesn't happen, you immediately know that there's an issue further up. See this here, and it's not sitting there, but it only needs to be a little bit away, and you know there's an issue, because it should nestle right up against the bone.
I don't do that, but I think that's brilliant, because right early on you can say that there's been a glaring medial translation, and it could be either subscap or supraspinatus.
Well, you just know, because often, you know, as in this case, the shoulder's a mess, the image quality is poor, but these are this just gives you that thing. You know immediately if that has pulled away, then you know it's not ruptured, because if it's ruptured, it won't pull away unless it's pulled away and then torn. The reason you're not seeing biceps further up in the groove.
Yes.
It's not in the groove.
Yes.
And so you can stop looking for all those, you know, is it tendon? Is it just remains of the sheath? Because when you've followed up the muscle into the tendon, it hasn't stayed close to the sheath, so you know that the structure is somewhere else. That's
great. if I can't find the fibers in the groove, and I can't find that the tendon, I will try to go looking around for it. And it seems to me that if all a person does is drop inferior to pec major insertion, look for the actual fascicles in their round part, come up watching that narrowing down, and then you can just follow it. Show me this one more time as a full clip.
This is not a good example. It's the sort of thing that I do on every patient just to get my eye in, just so that I know what it always looks like.
That is really valuable to me, John.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Straight through. And it then just makes it so much easier trying to, because all the time when you've got biceps, a thickened biceps subluxed, and you're looking at a difficult shoulder and you're thinking, well, there's some tissue there where subscapular RS should be. It doesn't look quite right. But actually, if you've identified this as that, you can then pick out, is there anything going above it? Is there anything going below it? But if there's nothing above it, nothing below it, it's not there.
I gotcha.
You know, and yes, you go higher up, and there is a natural space there. But if you're at the level of the lesser tuberosity, then it helps clear up those just difficult to scan cases. And finger ganglion, midfoot OA. I don't think there was an ATFL. I tried to do a scan on I think it was on this patient. That scan showing you it going all the way over, following the ATFL into the.
Yes, all the way down to the.
I couldn't get a good image. Might let me have a look at this one in a little bit more detail, and we might be able to show it. But I think this is just a scan of ATFL that I just happened to see. So you come. So there's ATFL, and there's some calcification within it. It's a little bit thickened. I don't think there was anything more to it than that. Have I gone? What did I do in this patient? Am I turned round? Yeah, that's just me going through in short axis, which is not terribly satisfying, but this is short axis of ATFL. So this is not a good example. I will try and do better next week. I just didn't have many ankles, and the only one where you could see it was a ropey old ankle where the image quality wasn't good enough. I did have some video for you, but it just wasn't good enough to show.
What you are saying is that there is a contiguity of the actual fibers from the ATFL that comes and drops south to become the
CFL.
CFL.
Yeah, you can, and you know, on a nice easy ankle or with a hockey stick, you can follow it round and do that. And I was busy and didn't have time to switch to a hockey stick, and it wasn't a particularly good example, I think. If I go, yeah, no, I didn't record it. I don't know what. Just trying to think.
I'm also interested in, let me see if I can pull something up here. When you were talking about that insertional musket thing, you were talking about the end of a musket that goes into the laying onto the edge of the inside of the bicipital groove. If you ever have any of that too, because I would like to, I take a look at some of the diagrams from people that I'm learning from, well, that Bird guy, and he seems to indicate that the coracohumeral ligament surrounds the supraspinatus tendon in a unique way. And what I am having a hard time with is maybe he's up too high for what you're talking about as the supraspinatus insertion goes down into the groove.
Let me, we've got one just nice video of supraspinatus. I'm not sure. If I just type in supraspinatus. Should be like a million of these. And we'll go We want a video clip, don't we? Let's see. Small partial thickness tear. Right, let's have a quick look. No, that's not going to show it. What we want is a nice, no, don't want glenohumeral joint injections, I'm not sure. What we want is a nice partial tear, scan of a nice partial tear. But I'm not sure. No, that's an injection. That's no good. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. I'll put that on the list of things and I'll just take a clip.
When you happen to get it, just say Fritz would like to just see that, because it made perfect sense. I have to see it for me to see it.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's more that thought, and if you get the right sort of slice, I think you do slices, you will get that sense of it. But it's the sense of seeing that leading edge tendon, that tendinous part of the supraspinatus, which on some patients is really clear, almost looks like a second biceps next to the.
Let me try to show you just one picture here. I don't know if I can take this over from you. Do you see an image at all showing up on my screen?
I'm going to stop sharing, and that will probably, yeah.
So I don't know if you can see that there's a schematic here of. Are you seeing any arrow of mine on it?
Yep.
Okay, so my mind saw that this particular fiber here, which in this image is coming toward me, at least the fibers are, it splays out and works itself down this area here. And according to this particular diagram, he's seeming to show that the supraglenohumeral ligament is here, the coracohumeral ligament is here, and then he's giving, I don't know if you can see me, I guess it takes a bit for me to roll this up. He's going through a couple scenarios where these various structural compromises have occurred, and that, I don't know, there's too much of a delay in this. I'm just trying to get my head around, because too many times as I'm scanning the long head of the biceps, my mind saw hypoechoic darkness. And I thought that was just effusion until I would push on it. And the reality is that seems to be more of the hammock or the sling or whatever that is around the long head of the biceps. And I don't know if you can see here where this shows that the supraspinatus has torn, the subscapularis has remained here. I don't even know if I can get my head around what he's claiming is happening here. Is this whole ligament coming off if the supraspinatus is torn, or
I don't think we're not at that level of sophistication. I think you can probably speculate about this, and perhaps if you've got all the time in the world, you can play around with thinking where the bits are. I certainly don't look in that much detail at it and think about this gone or that gone. If the biceps is misbehaving, then you know that something in there is damaged, but we're not using that information. And so I'm not looking in that much detail at it. And I certainly, in the vast majority of patients who actually have these problems, who are not sort of serious athletes, the image quality and the tissue quality is so poor that those sort of details are beyond the scope of what we're doing, certainly what I'm doing at the moment.
When you have a patient encounter, your purpose is what do I have in my arsenal that I can help you with, or where do I direct you for what I feel needs to be done, or do I educate you and basically say, life sucks, and then you die?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. All right.
Before the care home gets all your savings.
that is great.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, there's the starting. We are all, and it has been an evolution just over the last few years to spending a little bit more time looking at that pulley, and we all look now at the pulley mechanism. But you've got to remember these fibers are going. When they're describing it as it's close to the coracoid, this is a relatively straight piece of tissue, which you can see, and you showed a nice case of it. When you get towards the interval, it's not a unidirectional piece of kit. Yes, the part you can see underneath the supraspinatus, as it passes under the supraspinatus, is reasonably linear. That part that makes up the cable is nice, and you see that beautifully in drop, where it comes up under the supraspinatus and drapes over. Before those connections.
I need to interrupt you because you used the term cable when you were talking about this other structure.
Yeah.
Can you draw for me what you're saying? What is the cable composed of? Because I can't. Are you telling me that it is fibers from the CHL?
Yeah, I think so. Well, no, you see, that's an oversimplification. Because,
but in your understanding,
the cable is, if you think of the supraspinatus, if you think of the greater tuberosity and the supraspinatus tendon, and there's going to be the groove there. Imagine this schematic and the biceps coming up here.
Yes. And
passing underneath. The cable is variously described as a layer of fascia, a sort of ligamentous type layer of fascia that goes underneath the supraspinatus and then over the biceps and then underneath the subscapularis in this direction. Yeah.
Yes.
And you could describe it, or I would probably describe it possibly as a thickening of the capsular layer, but with a very specific direction. So when you're scanning your supraspinatus, and if I was a bit more organized, I could probably find a short axis scan of the supraspinatus. If you have a good quality scan of the supraspinatus, you see the tendon elements, and then you see the layer underneath. And then you should see that layer underneath pass over the biceps. So it goes under and then over. But if you go back to that diagram you had of Steve's on the for the coracohumeral ligament dividing above and below the supraspinatus, that's a schematic. What you actually got there is the fibers actually spreading out in lots of different directions and blending with other fibers, from the cable, from the capsule, and these are all thickening with fibers intertwining. And that's why it always looks really dark around there. Because you've got anywhere where you've got fibers going in different directions, you're not going to get the anisotropy. Except in very young, slim patients, where you get because they sit nice and smoothly, then even though they're going in different directions, they're all still in the 90-degree plane. And so on a very slim patient with very nicely defined tissue, you will still be able to see some of this going on, but you're not going to see it reliably, and certainly not in the majority of your middle-aged people, where the image quality is changed, where they have had trauma and things, and if not injuries in that area. And that's why these schematics are very nice in principle, but if you're seeing them defined, they're on special cases, patients where you just got everything nicely set up, there's a little bit of fluid around and the rest of it. It's not something you're seeing on every patient. Certainly it's not something that I can identify on every patient.
So that the cable is not necessarily a continuous collagen strand that originated on the coracoid. It is simply intra-tied like a web into the mechanism that would be in the region of where the coracohumeral ligament exists.
Yes.
So that there's fibers all over the place, like
no, maybe not all over, but from an imaging point of view, yes, you're getting.
Yeah.
They're coming in the coracohumeral ligament fibers are blending with the capsule as it goes under supraspinatus, probably over supraspinatus as well, but most obviously under supraspinatus, and you're getting and the cable is coming the other way with some variability. So how it all sticks together, I'm not 100% sure. I've not seen decent dissections of it.
Let me show you one more schematic that you know him on a first name basis. I'll just call him Bird. I'm gonna share one more here. You'll need to unshare in order to see it. This is what looks like tomographic slices from deep inside, where apparently this is the coracoid. Are you seeing my arrow?
I'm still sharing my stuff. I'm going to unshare. Come on then.
Do you see the shoulder here?
Yep.
This is the coracoid here, and what he's seeming to indicate, and again, this is another schematic, is that this is the biceps tendon that's coming out here, and that the coracohumeral ligament is more like a crescent over the top of a single glenohumeral ligament here, or superior glenohumeral ligament here. Does this follow in concept what your reality is?
Not really, no. Because the this isn't what I see. Because they're in the sense that it might well be what's in reality, but it doesn't really represent what we see, because the biceps is going, it diverges quite markedly from that. If you think you see the coracohumeral ligament, the coracohumeral ligament is coming from the base of the coracoid, or part way down the coracoid at the very least.
This would be back, or the top part here would be back a ways in here.
I think it would be. I would say it's forward. The coracohumeral ligament origin is anterior to the biceps.
And the biceps is diving down into the to the glenoid.
So if you think it's like I don't know. Can you see my hand?
I'm gonna let you draw.
Yeah. Can I draw in 3D? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind. Yeah. So how do I get rid of it all? Eraser. Clear. That sounds like good. Clear all drawing. Yep. Okay. So you've got a coracoid. Yeah.
Yes.
You've got a biceps tendon.
Yes.
Coming up into the groove, and it attaching into a glenoid. Attaches into the top of the glenoid there. Yeah.
Yes.
And the coracohumeral ligament is in continuity with your pec minor muscle, comes up here and goes across there. Yeah.
Oh, I remember you have a good example of actually seeing that.
Yeah, I see that not quite once a week, but once a week. I see a coracohumeral ligament where they're actually mobile. They're not always attached, and they're not always mobile.
But the one thing
that gives you the geography.
Yes,
that is where it comes from.
Yes,
and it quite specifically comes from that, and it comes in this oblique thing, and it does come quite down here. It does spread out. It has that sort of shape.
What is it? The coracohumeral?
The coracohumeral ligament. When you go short axis.
Yes.
You know that view, you've got nice view of a long axis. Well, if you have the time, carefully go round on it, and you'll see you get this slightly off-plane tissue that's running across So it's running like not a rope, like a little sheet, like a folded up towel.
And it, in this case, is coracoacromial ligament you're talking about.
No, the coracohumeral ligament.
Okay, all right.
So we're talking about the coracohumeral ligament.
Yes.
And it's it comes off so you've got the coracoid, and it's like a band off the top of it, and it comes down, and it's a broad flat band. So if you get into short axis, it's kind of like, looks a bit like that in short axis.
Okay.
But much smaller, normally much smaller. Very occasionally you get a big lump formed in it, but that's what the short axis looks like. It's oblique, pointing down in a very unfriendly direction.
Meaning that it's going to be darker. You're not able to refine it like you are the long head of the biceps.
Occasionally you can, but
okay,
you have to have a patient where it's just, they've got enough fat and whatever to get it to sit there, and it's and yet they're shallow enough. But yes, you're looking at a sort of smudgy type thick structure that's going up, at the very best is going away from the probe and at an oblique angle, and going then to cover. And so it's not, it's integrating into the biceps, into the sort of sheath of the biceps, relatively close, I think, to the groove. Not, it's maybe a centimeter or so away, I suspect. I haven't sat down and measured these things, but it's that sort of range. So it's in the free tissue above the subscapularis for most of its journey, and then it comes and it sort of clasps round. Well, that's my experience of it.
You will, when you do find that supraspinatus insertion that you're going to show to me, you will expect that those fibers are not part of these fibers, because these fibers will have terminated more proximal?
No, but it's the biceps fibers are going to be going. The biceps is coming in as a tendon, and then it just expands.
I'm sorry, I said biceps, John. I meant supraspinatus tendon.
Sorry, supraspinatus. Yeah, the supraspinatus is coming. The front of supraspinatus is coming like a rod.
Yes.
At the leading edge.
Yes.
And then as it approaches the insertion, it expands, like the fibers expand like this, and to a lesser and greater extent, expands like this and reaches and grabs.
Yes.
The edge of the the edge of the greater tuberosity.
Yes.
And they reach into the groove. Those are not. Then there is another set of fibers that sometimes can be seen to go off as almost like a separate tendon, like an extra slip, and that goes down the groove.
So
you got a second.
How will you differentiate those fibers from the coracohumeral ligament?
Well, again, the coracohumeral ligament fibers are coming. If I was in the muscle belly of supraspinatus and I was reaching in towards that anterior border,
yes,
the coracoid would be beside me here.
Yes,
this would be the coracoid, and those fibers are reaching down and then blending this way. So their direction of travel
over the top or underneath.
Well, they do both, but it comes in. If this is the front of supraspinatus, if this is supraspinatus approaching grabbing its insertion, and then the coracohumeral ligament fibers are coming up down like this and wrapping round the biceps tendon, which is next to you, and then the fibers are going across like this and blending in with the capsule going underneath, because the capsular fibers, certainly the cable fibers, are going perpendicular.
Yes.
To the supraspinatus, to the supraspinatus tendon fibers, even though they're part of the same body. And sometimes on a nice slim patient and young, you can sometimes actually pick out and scan it like a separate tendon. Sometimes it's a bit like picking out plantaris in the calf and being able to pick that out as a separate structure. And you can usually, if you really look hard in a relatively straightforward patient, you can usually see it, but it doesn't show well. But occasionally you get a patient where you go, oh, you drag your colleague over and go, oh, can you see the cable? And it just goes over like that. And I actually have one. Yes, I saw yesterday, and I've saved a clip, but it's not beautiful. You have to really look at it to see it, but you can really see the fibers of the transverse fibers, and I was able to follow it as it swayed over the biceps and then down under the supraspinatus. But I haven't had a chance to go through those and pick it out. So. And it's probably in one of those quite long scans I've done. And I'll probably miss it and think, oh, save a clip of the pathology and throw the rest in the bin.
John, thank you again for your time and for your willingness to humor me on some of the stuff that I find and help me refine that. I look forward to connecting again, but I want to make sure and never have the wrath of your dear
wrath of Christine. Yes,
that's right.
Even Spock would fear that.
That's right. I will talk to you again, and thank you for your time. I look forward to more. There you go. I look forward to more discussions later. Take care, buddy.
See you later. Have a good week.
You too.